So uh, I'm glad you I'm glad you pressed record before you did that big yawn.
Yeah.
Magic. So while you have a sip of tea and try and wake yourself up, there's
Yeah.
two things on the back of our episode with Molly that
Oh,
I just want to go through.
okay.
So do you remember the conversation that we had with her around, which is not particularly vegan, but around chicken fried steak?
Okay.
And neither of us had ever heard of chicken fried steak. And you very
Nope.
correctly asked her, what the heck is chicken fried steak? And she told us it was basically like a chicken fillet that is deep fried and for some reason called chicken fried steak.
So I'm assuming that that's what we would call a chicken scallop.
Okay, yes. As it turns out, that's actually not what a chicken fried steak is.
Okay.
So I think within 24 hours of the end of us recording the pod, she sent a message with a screenshot of a description of chicken fried steak from Wikipedia. And it seems bizarre to be correcting this on a vegan podcast. But anyway, chicken fried steak is known as country fried steak, or CFS, is an American breaded cutlet dish consisting of a piece of beef steak coated with seasoned flour and either deep fried or pan fried. So from the description and from the picture, it looks like a bit of KFC, but instead of it being chicken, it's beef.
Okay.
And it's sometimes associated with the southern cuisine of the United States. Now, this was part of our, I think, discussion on Cracker Barrel, wasn't it? The restaurant chain. Now,
Yeah.
the picture that's on this screenshot that she sent me has got this white sort of liquid on it. And I said to her, "What the hell is that white stuff?"
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And she said, "It's white gravy."
Yes.
Which apparently the USA is so racist, even the gravy has to be white. Don't know what the situation is there. But there we go. And she sent me a link to a New York Post article from the summer, which went through Cracker Barrel being accused of going woke by pushing the plant-based sausage.
Brilliant.
And it's basically, a lot of so-called news articles now is basically one paragraph of news,
Yeah.
and then the rest of the article is just quotes people have taken from Twitter.
Yeah.
And that's what passes as news these days, apparently.
Yeah.
But so many of the comments on this article were absolutely hilarious. And my absolute favorite described people who eat this plant-based sausage, which in America, of course, is round like a burger, but that's what sausage
Right.
is
Okay.
apparently. Loads of them are like, "I just lost respect for this great company," all that sort of thing. But the absolute best one was, are you ready for this? "Thanks, Cracker Barrel. Now my family won't be able to dine there because the troves of hippie stoner vegetarian lib cucks will now be invading my favorite chain restaurant and pushing their immoral commie lifestyle on me and my children."
Oh,
So I think I'm
wow.
going to get a t-shirt with hippie stoner vegetarian lib cuck on it and just wear that around just to annoy people.
I think I
Fancy
think
getting so angry about a bit of sausage.
I think someone's got some issues.
And they call us snowflakes.
I know.
This is the best thing. They
I
call us
know.
snowflakes for not wanting to take part in the ritual slaughter of animals, billions of animals every year. And yet they're the ones not boycotting an entire restaurant chain because they do one product that's vegan.
I love that there's that thing, isn't there? Of, well, that's it. I can never eat here again because
Yeah.
because you've got a vegan option. Fuck
Yeah,
off.
because you've got one vegan thing. Oh man, I love it. It's so funny. Anyway, so that's where we're at with that.
Yeah. Great laugh.
Dear.
Great
So
laugh.
that gave me a right chuckle
God
uh,
bless them.
the other day. Yes, absolutely. Also, this episode isn't going to be released before Halloween, but I've just listened to the Compassion and Cucumbers podcast. And their
Okay.
latest episode is all about vegan candy, all the options for vegan sweets, or it's an American podcast, so they
Right.
call it candy, but all the options for vegan candy that you could do, and possible. What I really enjoyed was possible vegan heroes you could go dressed as for Halloween, which
Okay.
got me thinking. I think one of the best suggestions was Earthling Ed, but with my lack of hair, that would be completely impossible.
Yeah. Now you see, I've got this thing, and as it's just the intro, I'm going to put this in there that I have a problem with Halloween. That
Yep.
it doesn't matter what you're dressing up as. It's the best time for fancy dress ever. However, it's Halloween. It should be scary.
Yes. Yeah.
You can't just dress up for a laugh and just
No,
go.
really,
Well,
you've got the scariest thing is a dairy farmer.
Yeah, yeah, or woke hippie vegan.
Woke hippie vegan lib cuck, whatever it was. Yeah.
But I just
Hippie stoner.
I don't understand why people just use it as a reason to fancy dress, but fancy dress scary because that's the
Yes.
point of Halloween. Just saying I'm just going to dress up. Oh, okay, do that any time of year.
Yeah, exactly. Do that whenever you like.
Make it good. Dress up as your favourite superhero. Dress up as Earthling Ed. Dress up as Joey Armstrong. I don't care, but dress up scary Earthling Ed. Blood coming out of his eyes and all that sort of shit.
Yeah, magic. Oh, dear, that's funny.
Is there any news? I haven't really been following it. To be honest.
I've tried to sort of stay out of the news because it's too depressing at the minute.
Well, there is
But
that.
I've literally just had a notification on my phone that the UK government, or this week's UK government,
Yeah, might change next week.
has reinstated the fracking ban.
Right. Hands
So
up.
you go on.
What's that mean?
Oh God. Right. So this is going to be wrong, but my understanding of it is that basically underneath the UK, well, I think possibly all around the world, but certainly underneath the UK, it's currently believed that there are stores of shale gas,
Right.
which can be used as a gas to power stations, etc. And then basically you have to drill down. The way of extracting it is basically to pump water at a really high pressure into the rock that encases the shale gas, which then fractures the rock, hence fracking, and then the gas comes out. But a lot of trials and where the shale gas has been extracted in other countries has resulted in earthquakes and various other
Okay. Right.
issues. So it's not seen as particularly safe.
Mm-hmm.
And it was tried here, and I'm just having a look at this. It was tried here in Lancashire, but was halted in 2019 after concerns about earth tremors.
Okay.
Now, if it's out in the countryside, that's not great. But if it's near a built-up environment, obviously that's got quite some major implications if the earth suddenly starts trembling in a country like ours, which isn't used to having earthquakes. Our houses aren't built to withstand earthquakes because we generally don't get earthquakes. So to do it on purpose seems a bit nuts.
It's pretty amazing that science has got that far ahead that we can actually make an earthquake happen. It's like something out of science fiction, isn't it?
It is. You can imagine Dr. Evil there at the his lair, like, I'm going to cause an earthquake and you have to give me $1 billion. That was a terrible Dr. Evil impression.
It was pretty good. I mean, you sort of look a little bit like him.
I haven't got the big scar down my face.
You haven't got the big scar or the.
Actually,
you could use Millie. So
yes, I think probably that's the only. That would be the easiest.
The
easiest Halloween costume for me, wouldn't it? Just paint a scar on down my face.
Yeah,
and that's it. I'm there.
You sent me this TikTok. Tickety tock. Well,
I did.
social
So
pressure. So we're talking.
yes,
The only thing that will make anything change is social pressure.
yes. So to give it a very bad summary, basically,
We're showing
it's
we're showing how uneducated and uninformed we are.
yeah, but you know what? We're on the internet, so people will still take it as fact.
Yes.
So our opinions are as good as facts. There may be alternative facts to anybody else's, but they're still facts. So
Everyone's opinion counts, but you're wrong.
yeah, except for ours. Ours is the only one that's correct. So basically, it was part of a TED talk, and I can't remember the name of the TikTok account. Maybe you could assist with that, Wes.
I'm just on that now. It was. Oh my god! Behavioural guide.
Okie doke. So basically, it wasn't around veganism, but it was around cutting energy use. But I still felt like it had a link to veganism because there was a study done, and the researchers basically tried 4 different ways of getting people to reduce their energy use. And this was specifically aimed at air conditioning. So they asked a quarter of people to stop because it was bad for the environment. They asked a quarter of people to stop because it would mean that they saved on their energy bill. They asked a quarter of people to stop because I can't remember what the third thing was. And then the fourth thing, and none of the first 3 worked. Nobody did it for the first 3. And the last one that got the most people to react was they said to people, your neighbors have stopped using their air conditioning. Maybe you should do that too. So it wasn't, and that wasn't even true, but that's what they told people, so that then people wanted to do what their neighbors were doing, rather than just doing it for themselves or doing it, for the planet. Because people feel like, I think probably a lot of people feel like, well, what difference is it going to make if I just keep using my air conditioning, for example?
Yeah, the three things. The three things were save money, save the planet, or be a good citizen.
Okay, there we go. Be a good citizen. Okay, so people didn't respond to any of those 3 things, and it was only basically keeping up with their neighbors that got them to make any changes. And I felt like that just sort of struck a chord with me with regards to veganism, that's how we're going to win, by being loud and showing that we are the ones who aren't eating meat and surviving. It doesn't matter about whether it's good for the planet or whether it's good for you or if it saves you money. It's actually everybody else is doing it, so you should be doing it too.
Yeah. So it's peer pressure, isn't it? All your mates are doing it, or I better get. It's that sheep mentality, which sometimes is a good thing and sometimes isn't a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And remember when we had Trudy on, and she said that something which I didn't really twig at the time, but she said vegans are generally the ones who choose the restaurant. If you're going out for food as a group, and there's 1 or 2 vegans, then the vegans are generally the ones who choose because they want to go somewhere where they can actually eat.
Yeah.
So then if you're going to a restaurant that has vegan options or is majority vegan and maybe 1 or 2 dead animal dishes, then that's the kind of peer pressure, hopefully, then that will kind of push people towards trying some of our food and then thinking, oh, actually, do you know what? I could do that a bit more.
Yeah. And it's still, I mean, I don't go out that much, but I know Michelle used to say it a lot. And I've heard it when I have been out, where people will go, "Oh, what you've got looks really nice." Yeah, because it is.
It is.
Yes. It's not much different to yours, but I haven't paid for killing anything.
Nope.
But
that's it.
God bless them. God bless them. You're saying about sheep there and that social peer pressure mentality. I saw a thing the other day. it's on a bit of a tangent, this, but about how something's said in the news. For example, you've got to wear a mask.
Mhm.
There's people out there that wouldn't wear a mask during COVID just
Yeah.
because they didn't want to go. They didn't want to be
Ordered.
They didn't want to be ordered to do it.
Yeah.
And by doing that, they are still being a sheep to the people that don't want to wear a mask. What you need to do, and I've tried to live by this for about the past 3 or 4 years, and it's very, very hard. But if you can go out of your way to find out as much information on that said subject as you can and have a justifiable argument for the reason you do something, then you have an informed opinion as to the reason you do it. And as soon as you have an informed opinion, you're doing the right thing. Just to say, I'm wearing a mask because we've been told we've got to, or I'm not wearing a mask because I don't see why I should. If you say, actually, the science says that if I wear a mask, I'm less likely to contract it or pass it on, and various other things, that's your informed opinion. But just to go
and
whatever, that's not making a decision.
No, and I think the danger with that is that people will get their decision or make their informed decision from the echo chamber of social media.
Yeah.
So the way especially Facebook works is that if you like something in a particular subject, it then bombards you with things from the same subject. So you only ever get the same opinions. So you might look at different pages on Facebook, but they're all saying the same thing. So you may think, oh yeah, okay, well, I've researched it because I've looked at 10 different pages.
Yeah, that's right.
They're all coming from the same angle. So that isn't an informed opinion. You need to cast your net wide.
Yeah, and that's up to the individual. That's why I said it's difficult to do it. And although I said I try and live by it, it's flipping hard, and I don't get it right any amount of time. But I'd like to think I try to. I won't get into an argument with someone unless I have enough background on it.
Yes.
That's why the vegan argument was so difficult, because it's like I can't argue. I can't put an argument to you right at the beginning of me being vegan because I don't know the facts. No. I just know what I needed to know to make that decision in the first place.
Yeah.
Our guest is ready. Our guest is ready. Oh my God.
First of all, I want to make sure I pronounce your name right, because I would say Aldís, but I think I've heard it 3 different ways in 3 different podcasts and things where I've heard people say your name. So I don't want to get it wrong.
No worries. It's the Icelandic way would be Aldís.
Okay.
Yeah, but Aldís is fine. I don't mind. And then my middle name is Amah, which basically I think everyone in the world can pronounce. And Hamilton.
Yes. Okay. Good. So my Icelandic pronunciation of anything is absolutely diabolical. I can't even say diabolical.
The Icelandic one, eh?
Despite the fact that I've watched nearly all the Icelandic dramas that are available on various TV streaming services. Wow. Yes, yeah. So basically, I was saying this to Wes last week. So I watched the Valhalla Murders on Netflix, and then very shortly after we watched Katla as well.
Right. Okay.
And generally, what I do if I'm enjoying a TV series, I'll start stalking the people who are in it on Instagram or wherever to see basically what are they going to be in next, or is there going to be another series of this program that I've just enjoyed?
Yeah, or if they're actual assholes and just good on the series.
That as well. So obviously then I found your Instagram profile and it said vegan food, and I was like, oh, that's even better.
Right?
Yeah, that's better than just being in a program that I like. So having watched those series, and also Trapped and the recent spin-off of Trapped, the only Icelandic word I've got is tak. That's it.
Well, that'll get you pretty far.
Okay.
What does that mean then?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It.
Yeah,
Probably.
I think it's common to every single Scandinavian. Well, not that we're not Scandinavian, but every single Scandinavian kind of language, we always say tak with just different tak, tak, tak.
Right.
All the same, basically.
Excellent.
Cool.
Okay, so that's my that's basically how I don't want to say discovered you. That sounds weird, but how I first realized that you were sort of into the vegan world. So that's where we are. So I'm going to do a proper intro now. Anyway.
All right.
And I try not to say your name wrong.
Don't worry. I don't think you can. The way you said it the first time was fine. It was
okay.
better than most.
Oh wow. Okay. Pressure's on to try and do it again now. Okay. So our guest today, an actress who has appeared in the Netflix series The Valhalla Murders and Katla, and she is about to be playing the lead role in a brand new series on Alibi called Black Sands, which she also co-wrote. She's the first person of color to play the lead in a TV series in Iceland, and the first person of color to co-write a television series in Iceland. We are very pleased to welcome Aldís Amah Hamilton.
Thank you. And you did a great job with my name. Thank you.
Excellent. I'm going to leave that in, then I don't need to edit it and try and re-record
it. Keep it. You earned it.
So thank you so much for joining us. Tell us about Black Sands, because that's due to be on British TV this month being November.
Yeah. Well, first, thank you for having me and reaching out. I think it's great. Great to speak with fellow vegans. About Black Sands, what to say? It is a TV show about a police detective named Anita, who turns out to be my age and looks just like me, played by me.
That's handy.
It's quite handy. It's also what happens, I guess, when you write your own stuff and make yourself the lead. But yeah, we started writing in 2018, and then the ball just started rolling very quickly. I apparently this is not normal. I'm still quite young, I think, in this industry. So this has been an amazing ride, and I don't know what to say. Like, what do you want to know about Black Sands? I'm not gonna give you any spoilers.
No, absolutely not. No. We want to watch it. So it's basically a police detective, and it's not based in Reykjavik. I think I read earlier. It's in a fishing town.
Yeah, it is actually, we want people to think of it more as a drama rather than a police kind of whodunit or crime series. But there is a crime in it, and there is a little whodunit, I guess. It is based in Vík, which incidentally is it's the same place we shot Katla.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's a very picturesque place in Iceland, and it was quite funny. I think I can't say this story now, but when we were writing Black Sands, we already knew like this is where we're gonna be, because it's called Black Sands. We need to be somewhere where there's a black sand beach. And that is Black Sands it's an area in Iceland called Reynisfjara, and that area has like a completely pitch black, well, not pitch black, but like black sand beaches. And it's something that is quite, I think it's quite rare. I think it's volcanic. And then when I was doing the reading for Katla, we started and they go, so situated in Vík, Iceland. And I just go, oh boy. We're going to be doing the same thing again in a few years. But it's a very different show. So even if there are similar, locations, I guess, we also took note, like, because obviously I knew what Katla was going to be like. So we were shooting Katla we were shooting Black Sands when Katla debuted. We already made sure to speak with the production team on Katla, like, where will you be located? What is the situation there? So we will not be imitating. And we actually had to move some things around because we literally had the same houses sometimes.
Oh, wow.
So we were going to be shooting it. Yeah. So it all turned out really well in the end. And I guess Reynisfjara and Vík is getting the spotlight it deserves.
That's amazing.
So Black Sands is coming to Alibi, which is on the Sky and Virgin TV, I pretty sure.
You know more than I do.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I was having a look earlier on. I couldn't find an actual air date, but all it would say is that it's going to be shown in November.
Yeah.
So
That was also
we'll have to
what I
keep
heard.
our eyes. We'll have to keep our eyes peeled.
Yeah, I mean, I heard about this through Instagram, so
Oh wow. Okay.
yeah, that's kind of the way it goes now. It's just, you know, it's left its nest, and I'm just here to kind of see where it lands. And then every now and then someone will tag me on Instagram and I'll be like, oh, so it's in Jakarta now.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because I did a Google search just for Black Sands, and I think it came up it's going to be on in Australia as well.
It's already aired in Australia.
Oh, has it? Oh, wow.
Yes, and I think they've even finished in Canada. So it's just airing randomly all over the world, which is also very funny. Just, you know, the way these things work now that I'm kind of, you know, a little more behind the scenes than I've been before. It's so interesting that, you know, TV series will continue to be premiering basically like for a whole year in different places, in different places in the world. Something I just never realized, because with movies, it's more like, you know, world premiere or like a huge TV series, obviously with Game of Thrones and stuff, because otherwise everyone would just download it illegally. But you know, we're small and we're new, so I guess, you know, they're still selling it, and then when they finish the contracts, that's when they can show it, and that those things happen at different times, you know. So it's quite funny. I have no idea when it's going to be aired anywhere in the world. I just know where it's going to be aired at some point.
Oh wow. Okay.
Really interesting.
Yeah, and is it going to be like a recurring series? Is there going to be season 2, or is it a one-off? Without there being any oh wow. Oh, what a cliffhanger.
Well, you'll see. You'll watch the series, and then I guess you
okay.
make an idea.
Oh wow.
There you
Okay.
go.
Tantalizing. Okay. So before we get on to our sort of normal questions, I've got one more thing that I just wanted to ask about, because you recently posted part of a speech that you gave at the Reykjavik International Film Festival, and you talked, fortunately for me, in English, about having spent some time watching young black girls, seeing videos of young black girls, seeing the trailer for the new live action version of The Little Mermaid. Yes. Where, if anybody doesn't know, it's got basically a black actress playing Ariel. And if you haven't heard the snowflakes kicking off about that, then you must have been living under a rock. With the hashtag not my Ariel going off for, for days and weeks.
So it's crazy. It's like
absolutely
not the president, but now with Disney, it's the weirdest thing. Really. But yeah, I'm sorry.
Of all the things to get annoyed about. But anyway, so even as a middle-aged white man, I felt really moved about seeing some of those videos of those young girls, especially. And in your speech, you mentioned how powerful it was for you to see these girls being represented on the screen. So, but that made me wonder, who was your equivalent when you were growing up? Who was your representation?
Wow. I guess that is kind of the problem, isn't it? There weren't that many role models to look towards, and especially, I guess, in Iceland, you know, back when I was young, we didn't necessarily get all the movies that people got, for example, in the States and such. So it was more selective. And we didn't have, like, there were some TV channels where you had to pay for it so you could watch movies, and, you know, the free stuff was basically just whatever was made in Scandinavia. So, you know, for me, looking back, I can't really think of a colored actress, or like, I want to say actress, because I was never able to look at men and think like, oh, that's my role model. Probably just because I always considered myself a woman. But I knew, you know, I saw movies with Denzel Washington, and I was like, I was a big fan of his when I was young. But I it's hard for me. I guess Halle Berry, most likely. I can't remember even what movie it was that I saw her in and was like, oh, she's someone like kind of looks like me in a way, you know. If when she's very pale and I'm very tan, we kind of look the same. But
Okay.
yeah, I guess that's the only actress like right now on the spot that I can think of. But that being said, I didn't want to be an actor when I was a kid, so I wasn't really looking towards acting. I guess in terms of role models, Beyonce, because I really wanted to be a singer and a dancer.
Oh, that's the passion, is it? Is it your
Yeah.
singing and dancing? You didn't write a musical number into Black Sands?
Not yet. Oh, well, I guess I spoiled something now.
I knew I'd get it out of you in the end.
Oh my. Well, yeah. Take that as you will.
Okay. You'll have to do like they did in I don't know if you're aware of the series Schitt's Creek, where they wrote in
Schitt's Creek.
Yes, big fan in this house. So where they wrote in the what was the musical they wrote in? Oh my God, Cabaret. They wrote in rehearsals and
oh right, I remember that.
basically
I
had
remember that episode.
they basically had
actually...
Stevie sing Cabaret. Yeah.
Yeah, and they do
You'll
it.
have,
I mean,
you'll have to do that.
They did it on Grey's Anatomy too, right? Where they did just like a whole episode that was just musicals, and it was really weird. But yeah,
Okay.
also we'll see. I mean, it is definitely that kind of show with it being like a dramatic Scandi-noir thriller.
Yeah, I don't think that would fit, would it?
Yeah, perfect fit.
Amazing.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So
okay,
shall we move on to that
go for it.
The big topic of what is your vegan story? What made you go vegan? What changed for you?
Right. I became fully vegan in 2020 because it was easy, and I'm not gonna lie. I tried being vegan in 2014, and I don't know if you guys probably have Veganuary, which is like vegan January.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's one of the worst ideas ever, because I think most people who are making like a huge life change are people kind of, young people, and many of them drink alcohol. And it was very hard being extremely hungover on the 1st of January and then taking out everything that I loved eating and kind of like changing my diet so drastically that I fell, if you will, around 8 p.m. on the 1st of January, where I just fell hard into a box full of Ferrero Rocher, or whatever you call it, chocolates.
Mm-hmm.
And I also had an egg and cheese. So on the 2nd of January, I was a bit, felt a little bit better. So I did Veganuary in 2014. And I have to say, I hated every single minute of it then. I guess also, I don't know if you guys remember, I don't know what it was like in the UK, but here, veganism didn't really take off until maybe just like 4 years ago, maybe. So we didn't have any proper cheese substitutes. We didn't like had just barely made its like entry in Iceland. This debutante ball had just happened. So, it was just like and that awful, I'm sorry, but the Daya cheese, for me, it tasted awful. Yeah, well, probably not. And I don't know if it even exists anymore. But I just remember thinking, oh my gosh, this is poison. So the thing is, like, I want people to know about these things, because some people make it sound like it's so easy to become vegan, and it just is not for everyone, and it was not easy for me. So after that, I went back to being a vegetarian, which I was at the time. And I actually started, I'm not proud of this, but it was kind of a moment where I was very conflicted with, in terms of like food waste and the environment and being a vegetarian and whatnot. But I was a flight attendant, and we would throw out like these like buckets, no, not buckets, like, I don't know what you call, like not even trays, just like huge things where you could put food on. Just like you would throw out so much food on every single flight.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because you have to, because you just have to estimate how many people are going to eat. You're not going to get the service on board, and whatever's, when you land in another country, you're obliged to destroy that food. No one else can have it. So and also, I mean, the food has already been heated, so you can't really sell it. So I started eating a little bit of meat and fish again, which made me feel bad, but at the same time, I felt worse throwing it out. So 2020 rolls around, and no one's flying. I lose my job. And all of a sudden I just realized, oh wow, I'm vegan. I stopped, I had kind of by accident stopped buying anything that wasn't vegan. And then when I stopped flying and I stopped eating like at work, I just realized, wow, I kind of became vegan, and I've been vegan ever since. And I do it for the animals. You know, the environment is just a great addition to that.
Yeah.
I don't do it for my health. You know, I don't eat like super or like raw or organic or stuff like that. I think that's for some people that might even be dangerous territory. I just try to eat what makes me feel good about myself as a person. Like if I can look at myself in the mirror, I'm okay.
That's good.
That's great. Yeah. So, I mean, the next question that we normally ask is what's been the biggest struggle, but I feel like you've kind of covered that because
Yeah.
the struggle was when you were, you know, working on for the airline, and there was I really get that point as well about throwing it away, because it does feel like a waste. You're not buying it.
Exactly.
It's already there.
Yeah, and we are not allowed to take that food and give it to anyone, neither.
No.
It is illegal to do so. So it is quite tricky. It is very tricky. You know, I would try to just like ask the passengers, like, don't you want another meal? And they'd be, no.
I've already had 5.
Yeah.
So you said it was in 2020. Was that sort of around obviously 2020 was the great lost year, wasn't it? Was that around lockdown then that sort of linked in with?
Yeah, my last flight was in, I think it was March. Maybe I had one flight in March in 2020. And it was actually perfect for me because we just started shooting Katla, and I thought I would have been able to kind of mix these two together. I think I can say now, looking back, never would have happened. It would have been a disaster. So yeah, after I stopped flying, the Katla was the first project that I did where I said, like, I am fully vegan, so I will not have any of these things. And it went beautifully. It was no issues at all.
Oh wow. So like as in like catering on set and everything, they catered for you and everything.
Yeah, and to be fair, we had probably like the best chefs in Iceland. It was like an amazing, it was a really great project. Brilliant. And they were so innovative. They always wanted to do you know, try new meals, and they just did the most amazing vegan meals. And very often people who weren't vegan were actually going for the vegan meal. So I would have to like run and get my trip before it was finished. And I feel like that is very often the case now. So sometimes I've had to like put my foot down and be like, you need to reserve one for me.
There's that thing, isn't there, about the film industry when they say no animals were harmed in the making of this film, but actually they've spoken to the catering department.
Exactly, right? Oh my, that is such a good point. Then it's always a lie.
Yes, yeah, you always get that the humane, like normally American Humane Society is verified. Yeah, that's a great point, Wes.
That is a great, that's an amazing point, actually. They should
well done.
Definitely. No, I would love to be on a set where they just went on the set, it was a fully vegan set, and that would be amazing. But I know there would be people that would complain quite a bit.
Yeah, bless them.
Yeah, bless them. But we are getting there. We're getting there, definitely.
So what did your friends and family think about you changing your way of life? I nearly said diet then, that's wrong.
Yeah, right. They thought it was very natural. It wasn't a big issue because, I mean, I'd been very vocal about my love for animals for like forever. And I'd also, you know, been a vegetarian before and that was kind of because of my mom, because she stopped eating pigs. What do you call it? Yeah, I guess just pig meat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, bacon, pork, gammon.
Pork. Yeah, she stopped eating pork. And then we stopped eating chicken. So this was all her doing in the beginning. That's kind of how, you know, my awareness was raised. And then I just took it a little further. But, you know, they're all very vegan friendly. And all of my sisters are vegetarians, actually. And one of them is also vegan. My parents eat very little meat. So it wasn't an issue. And one of my closest friends has been vegan for like 8 years now, or 9 years maybe, for the longest time. And other friends have been vegetarians. Like we're all very kind of, some of them are kind of fluid about it, but yeah, no, it wasn't an issue at all.
That's good.
Happy days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm very lucky.
Yeah. All right. So how did things change for you then, physically or mentally, once you'd gone vegan?
Nothing mentally for me. I envy those people who go like, I went vegan and all my problems just disappeared, because none of that happened. I still have all of my issues, whatever they are. But for me, it was definitely just mentally, my kind of, attitude changed towards myself, and I just became content. It was such an after I became vegan, it just felt so obvious for me to do it, because it was something that I had been having a hard time with facing myself, knowing I wasn't living, my truth and, my values. I wasn't honoring my values. I had these values that I'm an animal lover and I do not want to cause harm in this world if I can, I want to do as little as I can, no, as much as I can to not cause harm. And here I was, not doing that. So afterwards, I think it was just like, yeah, mostly a mental shift and coming into like accepting myself and being kind of proud of myself more.
Is that me now?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm being really stupid.
We take it in turns asking questions, but we often forget who's asked the previous question.
No worries. I mean, I'm stopping myself because I would like to ask you questions, but then I'm thinking, well,
okay.
Listen to the podcast.
So, obviously, people ask vegans all these stupid questions. We all know that. We always put this in there for a bit of a giggle. So, where do you get your protein from, and other nutrients that we're apparently lacking?
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
Look at us all withering away.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, I actually eat a lot of protein. My boyfriend is also vegan, and he's, before we got together, he was very like into eating eggs, and he was very kind of he works out quite a lot. So when he became vegan, we needed to figure out a way for him to kind of get his protein intake. So we spend quite a lot of time researching stuff. And right now we do use meat substitutes quite a lot. I have no quarrels about it. I think they're great. I love seitan. I think it tastes amazing. And I mean, I eat tofu every single day. Like right before our chat here, I was like stuffing my face. I have made tofu scramble that I make almost every single day. So I guess that's where I get most of it. And protein powders, they're amazing. Everyone uses them. I don't know why people use like, I mean, if people don't mind, then I don't understand why people use non-vegan protein powders. I just don't understand. Because a bunch of people just buy whatever's at the store, just like, go for the vegan one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's dead
Oh,
simple.
yeah,
It's not like it's rare.
Vegetables.
Quite easy, isn't it?
Dead simple. Dead simple. Okay.
Basically just food, right?
Just
That's where I
food.
get the nutrients.
That's it. It's amazingly simple, really, isn't it?
It is.
It's nuts. Okay, so what's the best thing about being vegan?
Yeah, it is definitely. I mean, aside from what I said earlier, just being able to wake up every day and know that I'm living, according to my values, it's also the society. You meet people everywhere, and it's just one or two vegans, and you immediately have a friend in any scenario. And it's also, even if people aren't vegan, they still like want to discuss it, because they'll be like, I'm so interested in, like, I've been meaning to do it, and how do you do this and that? It's just like it's a great icebreaker. It's a great place to meet people. It's like having a dog. When I got a dog, I just realized that now I am a part of a sub community within my community. So now we all say hi. People who have dogs are always friends in the street, right? It's the same with vegans. We just don't, you can't see it as obviously as a physical dog, but I think it's just, the community. It's amazing. And
yeah, maybe we should walk around with like flags instead of a dog on a lead. Just have a little flag. Yeah, or a hat. Yeah.
Ricky Gervais said once, didn't he? Said when people have got a dog, that's not your dog. It's everyone's dog.
That's the thing. It's like yes. Dogs, pregnancy, and veganism, right?
Yes. Yes, that's it. Oh, that's good. I
Mate.
like that.
So you've already mentioned oomph, and you did
What?
mention
Sorry?
you mentioned oomph as a
Oh, yeah,
product.
sorry.
Oomph, oomph.
Right, yeah.
And a couple of others earlier on. But what's your favourite vegan product at the moment?
Oh my God, I was just thinking about it. Two things. I need everyone to know that the chicken
Oh,
is
we've had that one before. Yes,
incredible. You had it? You've tried it?
I
I
haven't tried
haven't.
it, but one of our other guests has told us about chicken. Yes.
Yes, it is incredible. The butter chicken just blows my mind, and it blows everyone's mind. The way we heard about it was that my boyfriend's mother, who she's not vegan, but she bought it thinking it was chicken. She cooked it, and then they looked afterwards and were like, "This was an amazing chicken." Oh wait, so I'm like, it's that good.
Wow,
Good, yes.
that's amazing.
And because we were talking about oomph, I started hating oomph because that was the only thing you could buy here in Iceland. But we gave it another shot the other day, and now they have like, this is probably old news, but the oomph kebab, which is like
Yeah,
slices.
yeah. Made with
That's
pea,
just amazing.
something or other.
Incredible.
Yeah,
So good. And even the spicy oomph bits, they're great for like, kids, for kind of pasta with vegan creamy sauce and that stuff. It's like, yeah, it's great. So these things.
Yes. Oh, I love it's that kebab stuff is just amazing.
yeah.
And we're not getting paid to say that.
No,
I
me
mean,
neither.
I'm not saying we wouldn't take the money. Just saying we're not getting paid for it.
Or just a box
just
sent
a
to
box,
us.
yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
I mean, I go through them quite quickly.
Yes. Oh dear. So, what advice would you give to anyone who's thinking about going vegan?
Yeah, I would say going cold turkey is only for the like, I don't want to curse, but like, it's for the crazy ones. And like, it's amazing if people can. Oh, you did. So
You
you're
did it.
one of the crazy ones. All right, so we'll do 1 out of 3 can do cold turkey. But I would
Cold
say
vegan turkey.
cold vegan, yeah, cold
Yeah.
tofu. But I would say, honestly, start by doing a little research and kind of gradually move into it. And figure out what, like, that's what I tell people, like, figure out what your values are, because this is going to affect so many aspects of your life. So you kind of need to, it needs to be something that you really hold valuable. And it's so easy, I think, for people to say like, oh yeah, I love animals, I'm an animal friend. But you kind of need to take that thought further. Like what does that mean to you? Does it mean not causing harm to animals, or does it just mean the animals in your near environment? Does it only mean pets? What is it? So I think you kind of need to start with your own values and move from there. And there you'll find your truth. And once you know your truth, it's easy. Then it becomes easy. Because you won't be able to, look at, a dish of cheese or a steak the same way.
100%.
Absolutely. And you mentioned before about how, like, you said that like vegan food's only really been available in Iceland over the past about 4 years.
Yeah.
And for us, it's we've only been vegan 4.5 years, about Wes. So and within that time, the difference in availability is just enormous.
Yeah.
From when we first went vegan until now, it's just gone through the roof. It's just incredible, and it makes it so easy. If what you're focusing on is your diet, there's really no excuse.
Seriously. And I do have to give a shout out to the vegan store in Iceland, because apparently it is the biggest vegan store, I want to say worldwide, but at least in Europe.
Wow.
Which is incredible. At least like biggest in terms of variety. They have everything there. So, now vegans can just go to one store and they can just get all of their groceries. And they have really they have everything from like high quality organic stuff, and also, more I don't want to say cheaper, but just like more financially kind of things so everyone can buy whatever they need. And I think it was a game changer here. And now all the big ones are kind of competing with them, but they won't.
What's the name of the store?
Just Veganbúðin in Icelandic, which literally translates to vegan store.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
I'm gonna
now all
I'm
the
gonna
big ones have vegan stuff everywhere. And veganism has just, it's just become such a staple. Even for people who aren't vegan, people are buying like these substitutes just to kind of limit their meat intake, which is amazing.
yeah, absolutely.
Oh, you
Well,
should talk to a man named Christopher. He's starting a company. Well, he started a company in Iceland that's going to be creating this amazing vegan fish. You should have him on.
okay.
Yeah,
Send me his
I
name on
will.
Instagram and we'll get him on.
Yeah, I will.
That'd
He's
be
been
awesome.
since he was like 14, so like 20 years. Amazing guy.
Wow. An
Yeah.
ancient vegan, one of our ancient vegans. That's
Literally
good.
one of our like elders.
Wes has got an excellent theory about
I can't remember
about
this one.
vegans. This is when we spoke to Molly last week. This is a couple of weeks ago. You said it's about people have either been vegan for years and years and years, like 20 years, or about 5 years.
Right. There's no one in between.
No.
Oh,
But we
right.
don't really know what happened 5, 6, 7 years ago that suddenly brought it into the mainstream and such a huge amount.
Except the film,
Except for Cowspiracy.
Cowspiracy and a couple of
That
others.
must be it. Yeah, that must be it. I've never watched those films because I always felt at that time being a vegetarian, I was like, I know, I don't need to know. But then now, even more so, I don't want to watch this. I'm not the one you need to talk to. But
No.
yeah, but I
We
remember everyone, Forks Over Knives,
Not
Cowspiracy,
seen that.
and Blackfish.
Oh, Blackfish.
Yeah, these three movies, I feel like they just completely changed the way people thought about these animals.
Yes.
So, who is your vegan inspiration?
I have to say my best friend, Hjördís Eithórsdóttir. Yeah, she's the one who's been vegan for like 8 years, I think now.
Wow.
And that's just incredible. Yeah, she was there when it was all bullshit. She was there when it was just diet cheeses and awful, like the original oomph, which is fine, but like you get sick of the same thing in every meal quite fast.
Mm.
So, yeah, definitely. She's my inspiration. She's amazing.
Fantastic.
Excellent. Okay. And so she's Icelandic as well. So she's been through it. She's done the hard work when there was no.
She's been through it. Yeah. I guess like worldwide, I feel like I don't know many people who are like in the spotlight and are vegan. I think Billie Eilish is vegan.
Yes.
She is.
Yes, right. Well, paint her my role model. No, I don't know. I think it's just my friend at the moment.
Yeah, no,
that's amazing.
Perfectly fair. Yeah. Does your friend know that?
I hope she does. Wow. Well,
you have to get her to listen.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Get her to listen to the podcast and then she'll
wink, wink. Listen to the end.
We'll have a sudden spike in listeners in Iceland.
Right. That's just going to be her replaying it.
Yeah, why not?
No, I mean, I will be sharing. Absolutely. I'm very happy with this podcast.
Oh, that's the trailer sorted, Wes.
Right.
So, what's your favorite vegan venue or restaurant? What's the vegan scene in Reykjavik?
Now it's amazing, to be honest. And we were just discussing it today with some of my friends, my Pilates friends. I was like, oh, this is gonna sound silly, but we were just discussing it today that one of them is vegan as well, and she's like, I never go out to eat. I just realized that now because I think I'm quite burned from going out to eat, years ago, and it was such a letdown. And we were just kind of discussing now how things have changed. So I think it's hard to say what is the best venue in Iceland. There's so many. There's there are only a few that are exclusively vegan, and I love those. They would be Mr. Joy, who actually a friend of mine runs, and she does an amazing job. This is for anyone coming to Iceland, so this is going to be like a little shout out. It's Mama in downtown Reykjavik. They also have very nourishing kind of feed the soul kind of food. And then you have the Vegan World Peace that is everywhere. You guys probably know what that is, or
no, not heard of that.
Well, it
What's
is
that? Vegan World Peace.
yeah, it's a great name.
Yeah.
It is, some people have taken issue with it just because it's got this whole funny story that's a little cultish, but woo! Without getting into it, people can Google it if they want to, but I have an amazing experience there, and the staff just, they are very kind, and they're so, they seem happy, and they make amazing vegan, mostly I think like Chinese dishes, but they also have everything from like vegan fish and chips, and they have like vegan all kinds of stuff, like vegan steaks and great stuff. So those are the fully vegan places, and there is one opening up very soon too. So, for a country of 360,000 people, and I don't know, 180,000 of them living in Reykjavik, just having 4 whole vegan places in one little area, that's kind of big, because
That's
every
amazing.
single restaurant also has vegan dishes.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are a bunch of restaurants. Like, I couldn't tell you which non-vegan restaurant is my favorite, because so many of them have great dishes. But I also just want to give a shout out to the
And you've got the vegan store.
and you got the vegan store, and then I have my kitchen, and we're quite good cooks.
My kitchen is
Excellent.
the best restaurant going.
Yeah, it's a whole
Brilliant.
venue.
Do you feel there's any hope for the future in veganism, in saving animals, saving the planet, or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hope. But I actually do, though. Especially, I think I do lose hope when I go abroad a bit more, because I feel like living in Iceland with such a small population, it is quite easy to, it's everyone here has access to the internet, to social media, and everyone, I think 99%, if not almost 100% of the population reads. So it is quite easy to get the message across. And as I said earlier, most people consider themselves animal friends, and a lot of people are concerned about the environment, and a bunch of people are also just concerned about their health. And all these things often lead to a more vegan lifestyle. So I think I do have very high hopes for Iceland in general, especially like in the city, because it's just become so easy to be more, at least, vegan friendly. And then, the more I travel, it does get a bit more difficult sometimes.
Yeah.
I hope, especially in certain, because food is such a huge cultural thing, and there are certain, countries where eating meat is just, it's just such a big part of the culture still. And I mean, it was for us as well, but I guess because for us, we were basically like, if you eat cultural, like actually Icelandic cultural food, it's basically just rotten and sour and bad food, because we were way too poor to create anything that we called like Icelandic cuisine. But there are definitely still, countries that have like an amazing cuisine and that like a history with food, and a lot of that food is going to be animal based. And that's hard, it's something people feel very strongly about, and they do not want to give up, and they do not want to change. So yeah,
Sometimes it feels like people take it like you're attacking their heritage, because and because you're trying to do something different that wasn't done hundreds of years ago. But
exactly. And even even if you make substitutes, it is, I don't know if you've heard of the backfire effect. It's something that I think about every single day. It's an amazing theory that if you push people with like, if you, this is one of those things where I have a hard time explaining it in English, even though I heard about it in English. But it's just like, if people feel attacked, they will go into their fight or flight response, and it doesn't like their body will do the same thing if it was a physical attack as much as a mental one. And very often, when you attack something people care about and they do not want to give up, for example, like eating meat or even, vaccines, whatever it is, people, they don't realize that it's their body reacting and not maybe their actual thoughts.
Yeah.
And I don't want to sound condescending, as I'm just explaining it poorly, but the backfire effect, this is what it's called. So they actually push harder. Like they will actually be more firm in their original idea. What backfires on you as the one who's trying to change their mind about something.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like that is kind of what we've been doing so far. And that's why I also try to adapt more of a lead by example mindset and more like a gentle approach towards veganism. And I know there are people out there that, you know, do an amazing job and they show you all the awful stuff, and that worked for me. That is why I became a vegetarian, because we saw what, you know, the awful treatment, and that is definitely important too. It works for some people, it doesn't work for others. And so I think we need to have, you know, there needs to be a diversity within the fight for veganism, because we cannot just push people to the brink. Then they'll just, you know, put their heels down and they'll just not move. But you can kind of, you know, gently show them, like, I would rather cook my friends an amazing meal, and then, you know, they know that it's going to be vegan, and they'll be like, oh my gosh, I just had no idea this was even possible. And you're like, yeah, you know, you want the recipe? Yeah, sure. And do you have any advice? And that's kind of how it goes. And podcasts like these, this is like the gentle approach, I think. So yeah, with that in mind, I do have hope, but I can get quite pessimistic as well.
Yeah, I think it's certainly for me, it's like a day by day thing. Like some days I feel far more positive than other days. You just think, oh, this is hopeless.
Exactly. And those are the times where you actually need to kind of face your values and be like, well, if no one else, like if everyone else gave up, would I still continue? And as long as the answer is yes, then, you know, you're doing you. As long as you're doing you and you can face yourself in the mirror, that's basically what, you know, your life needs to be about, right?
That's perfect. Absolutely.
Earlier you said there was stuff you wanted to ask us or talk about. So
yeah,
crack on, go for it.
Yeah. Okay, well, I wanted to know, what was your vegan story?
Okay.
Well, mine follows on from Wes's. So Wes, you go first.
So my wife is an ancient vegan. She was vegan from an early age, probably about, I think she said either 10 or 11. I think she'll correct me later. She was vegan when I met her. I was one of those annoying carnists that would use all the stupid comments at her. I would say all this stupid stuff, the stuff we all hear about. And then, like we said, about 4.5 years ago, she was watching Cowspiracy. And I walked in the room, I came in from work and it was on. I was like, I ain't watching this crap, not interested. Sat there on my phone. And after about 10 minutes, my phone had gone away and I was watching it. And then by the end, I was like, oh, wow. Okay. And I turned to her and I said, just tell me, if I went vegan, is that like cheaper on the shopping budget? And she went, yeah, pretty much. I was like, okay. And the following morning, I woke up and I went down to the local shop and I got a carton of Oatly Barista on her advice from my coffee. And that was it. I never went back. I've made the odd error. I've made the odd accidentally put death milk in my tea, or I've put sprinkled cheese on something, or eating a bite of the kids' pizza that had got cheese on it. Silly little errors. But apart from that, I went full cold turkey, and I would never ever look back.
That's an amazing story.
So she was like, I can't believe you've done this. She was blown away that I changed because I was such a meat eater.
Yeah. And I was so blown away that I thought, I have got to watch this film. If Wes can watch one film and go from being Mr. Meat to vegan overnight, this has got to be one hell of a film. And so my wife and I watched it. Then we watched What the Health, and we were like, yep, okay, we're on board, fully on board. And finished off what was in the fridge, and that was it.
I mean, that is amazing, because that shows, like, for me, not having seen those films, it just shows the importance. And that is, I would actually call that, you know, I wouldn't necessarily call that a gentle approach, because I know they showed some horrible stuff in the films. That's why I'm not watching them. But, you know, there are people, like, I guess the three of us, that kind of need that. And then there are others who just don't. I want to tell you, because now I'm thinking I have only ever, aside from my best friend, I think I've only heard men speak of going cold turkey, like going full vegan in the night. And that is the same case with my boyfriend. He just became vegan overnight, and he was actually a hunter. Like
Wow.
Rifle carrying hunter type. But he had, I feel bad like telling his story because he's not here, but
that's right. We'll get him on another episode.
Yeah, exactly. It's an inspiring story because he had kind of like, he comes from a fishing village, so all around him animal products always. And then he started hunting himself, and he actually worked on a fishing boat as well and all of that stuff. But for him, it was kind of, he had this strong connection to animals, but he's also a male in a very like kind of male dominated society back in the day here in Iceland, where meat is just like, you eat your meat, otherwise you're a sissy, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm sorry. I hope I didn't offend anyone. That was me being in the old talking.
That's how it is pretty much everywhere, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
But he thought that he wanted to hunt himself because he wanted to be accountable. He wanted to be held accountable. But I guess he said, like, then becoming vegan, it was like, now I understood what that feeling was, that accountability feeling. It wasn't the need to shoot the animal myself and see it go. And, it was a tragedy. He felt really bad. Like, he felt all kinds of emotions that he will hopefully be on your podcast to explain later. But for him, he also just became vegan like overnight. And he says the same. He's like, I can't imagine myself ever turning back. I just couldn't do it.
No. And like we've had 20 other guests on this podcast, and they've all come with different stories. That's why we do this, because we ask the same questions, but everyone's different.
Right.
Everyone says different things, and it's like, we had George Martin from Carnism Debunked on, and he's all about activism and stuff. And we were talking about people don't have time. People say we haven't got time for activism. So just sharing stuff on social media is enough. And I will share on social media. We do this podcast as activism because we're putting something out there. Whereas my wife, who is an ancient vegan, coined a phrase that we made up. She doesn't like doing it because she feels she's pressuring people too much, and that's just her. She doesn't like doing that, and that's fine.
Absolutely.
But now I'm like, it annoys me for on a personal level, because of that guilt that I feel for what I learned for so long in my life, and now I know the truth. I want to get other people on board with that, and just to sit back and not do anything really winds me up for myself. So I have to have arguments with people. Like, it's not. I don't have to have arguments with people. I have to have discussion with people. I have to promote discussion to try and get them to realise, because I was exactly the same. And I've said it on here loads of times. The amount of my friends that will say all those comments to me, trying to get a rise out of me, and I'm like, you sound so stupid.
You're making a great point, because this is something that I also didn't realize. But people who've been in this game for very long, they kind of say, I feel like they say, like your wife, like, you know what, I don't have the energy, and I don't feel the need to continue. Like, I'm here living my life. And they were there in the beginning. They were there 20 years ago with the picket signs, before social media and all that. And I feel like, you're right. You should rest, because it can be very daunting, as we're discussing now, like this, having this hope for the future. And when you don't, it can be very daunting. And, it's at some point you just gotta rest and just live your life. And I think that's what people like us, like the new ones, the ones that are like, still kind of wet behind the ears, we're the ones singing the praise of veganism. And there was actually another podcast I listened to where they were talking about how once you learn something, you have this urge to tell everyone about it. And I mean, this is kind of the same, because you learn how your life can actually be, for us at least, I guess, better. And you just know that there are so many people out there who share similar values to yours, but you know, are the people you were before, and you just want to show them like, you know, I'm happier now, and I know you can be happier too, or like I imagine you can be happier too if you just, you know, do this or maybe do a little less of that. And then, you know, it's activism. It's just very tiring. It is.
I've tried to suppress mentioning my work for a few episodes because I used to talk about it a lot because of the grief I'd get there. But I was speaking to a guy this weekend who he's got a lot of. He basically said to me he's got a few like stomach problems, and he said to me, I think I might be lactose intolerant, I might be gluten intolerant, all these sorts of things. Have you got any ideas? And I said, well, we're all lactose intolerant for a start off, so stop drinking milk. That could help.
And he said, step, that one.
Yeah, and he said, what about the gluten thing? Would that help? And I said, I can't tell you. I don't know. That's a health thing. I'm not sure about. But stop drinking milk for a start off and see how it goes. He goes, I don't drink that much milk, but I have a lot on my cereal. I went, okay. When do you feel the worst? And he goes, probably mid-morning. I went, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And you know, it's not even about pressuring people to becoming fully vegan, but at least, you know, at least
small steps,
baby steps. And often once you kind of get into it, like you start looking around, and I guess people also just become curious. It's also just like, be curious, you know, try things, you know, try buying one. If you buy 2 packs of regular milk, maybe buy one that's, you know, coconut based, see what happens. You know, it's also just, you don't have to change your life entirely in a minute, because that is very hard and it's very scary as well. You know, people think about all the things they're losing, and if you haven't experienced all the things you can gain, then it's just going to feel like you're always giving something up. So you know, that's why I also agree with like baby steps.
That was one thing. I think it was George Martin said when we asked the advice question, what advice would you give to people? And he said, try not to think to yourself, I can't eat that. Think, I don't want to eat that. And that changes your mindset. Instead of, because if you're saying I can't eat that, that's immediately, oh God, I can't do that, can't do that. If you don't want to, you don't want to.
Exactly. I always say like, oh, I can eat everything, I just choose not to.
Exactly.
That's it. Perfect.
You know, what's the difference between saying that and like, it's not like I go around in Iceland and meeting people eating dogs, you know, they choose not to. You know, I don't think they can legally, but you know, most people choose not to, even if they are in places where you could, they just choose not to. I'm like, I don't know, why is that so hard for you to understand, that I just choose not to eat, you know, dairy stuff or meat?
Yeah, that's a great point.
Don't eat dogs.
That's a great point. Don't eat dogs.
Well,
it's only really, we're just not eating 3 more animals that most people don't eat. It's just we don't eat cows, pigs, and chickens, whereas they do.
Whatever comes from those animals, we don't eat that neither. Yeah,
that's the argument I say to a lot of people when they do that. Well, what do you eat? I eat the same as you. I just don't eat cowfish, chicken, and pig. Exactly. I just have the rest of it.
Well, and when people are like, I love when people go, oh, I'm not vegan at all, I never eat anything vegan, and I'm just like, well, did you have a potato with your salad today? Or that was
there you go.
I had it. I know I mentioned this way back early on, but I had a guy at my work eating an apple, and he goes, "Can you eat this? Is this a vegan apple?" Yes, it's a vegan apple.
It's a vegan apple. I love when people say that. Like, I don't know, a close friend of mine, and this was the cutest thing. She was like, I'm so sorry, I think I only have almond milk. Is that vegan? I was like, yeah, I think the almonds.
No almonds were harmed.
But she was like, oh my God, of course. But it was such a sweet moment. So this is not me talking badly. It's just, you know, people sometimes panic as well.
Yeah.
They want to include you, and that is also quite nice.
Yes, absolutely.
100%.
Okay.
It's really hard milking almonds, though.
Yes. Is it? I've never tried it. Aldís, thank you so much for joining us today. We've had such a great time. It's been a real laugh, and we've learned a lot.
Oh, well, thank you. And so have I. And it's very insightful. I'm very glad that you gave me the space to ask your stories, because they were amazing. What a story.
That's okay. If you go back to episode 1, you'll find our stories in full detail there.
Right. I had a hunch.
All good.
But yeah, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a real pleasure, and we'll look forward to seeing you on Black Sands on our TV screens very soon.
Thank you for watching, and thank you for your interest, and I hope you like what you see.
Well, that was a fun episode, wasn't it?
That was a great one. Really enjoyed that. I
Yes.
think she was a great guest.
She was.
Guest, and
Yeah, it was good
I felt
fun.
like we could have chatted for ages,
Yes.
just about stuff.
Just stuff.
Yeah, one thing I didn't manage to slide in was the fact that I went to Iceland, but pre-vegan, so I didn't get to check out the vegan scene. But that was 5 years ago this week, actually.
Right.
And as she said, it only really kicked off in the last 4 years. So I think I probably would have been a bit hungry.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably. Yeah.
But there we go.
No, exactly. But no, it was really good. She was very she was good fun. A good laugh.
Yes. Yep. And she says she's going to send us the details of her friend who is creating plant-based fish. So
Right. Okay.
when she does
That'd
that,
be
I'll
good.
make contact and see if we can get him on as well to tell us all about how he's going
Cool.
to change the world with
Yeah.
plant-based fish.
Yeah. And her other half. Sounded like
Yes, as well. Yeah.
he might be a goer. That's
Yeah.
not a goer. That sounds wrong.
It's not that sort of podcast.
It's not. No. Oh dear.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's funny.
I was trying to do a pun then, but it won't work. Leave it. Stop there.
Yeah, that's a great one. So good. So if you yeah.
If you can get your words out.
If I can speak, if you've liked what you've heard, then that sounds rubbish. Anyway, if you want to get involved, you can find us on all the usual.
It's usually me. This is brilliant.
This is going to give me some editing practice. If you have liked what you've heard, you can get in touch with us on any of the usual social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, where else? TikTok.
Yeah, I
wherever you
always
like.
forget we're on TikTok. It's amazing.
Yeah, and give us a shout, or if you want to send us an email.
Yeah, if you want to send us an email, that'd be amazing as well. Send us an email at howiveganpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to come on, if you want to give us any feedback, it would be amazing.